We'll have to see.
I mean, I feel like honestly, I feel like it's not even a question of comps as much as it really comes down to just like play style and decision making coming up here. I mean, I talked about Sayonara and how they kind of like bait for each other and stuff, but it also means that they get a little bit too aggressive as individuals sometimes and kind of like go for positioning that's not really that safe with the assumption that their teammate's going to run up and save them. If you're Astral and you're able to kind of see that happening, make sure that you realize that like there's a second person coming and kind of like back up and punish. You can really like give Sayonara enough rope to hang themselves. I'm sure you've heard that kind of that phrase thrown around before. And just because Splatoon's a fast-paced game doesn't mean that doesn't really exist. So I think that the L3s really do allow for that. It's just that you can't overcommit to a firefight, because if you're an L3 and you overcommit to a firefight, you're kind of rooted to the ground. And if you're fighting a team like Sayonara that's just gonna like swap up who's fighting you, you're kind of a sitting duck. So I think it's really up to Astral to not get too comfortable with kind of like tunnel visioning on the person that's in front of them, and you just have to be a better team.
Yeah, we do see that Astral does bring out the double L3 Junior and a Fire Fin Charger. They're going very safe route.
All that special charge, jeez.
All that special charge though. A lot of specials coming out from Sayonara, but this is kind of a really equal in terms of paint right now, because Naturalist can paint almost as much as double L3 can, and especially for Special Man, I can sort of paint with the Junior, and double L3 can also paint like crazy. So this is really, I think right now this is really coming down to positioning and splats rather than playing objectively heavy, because both of the teams are just playing are playing objective very equally. You see, nice. We see Alexa getting a ton of very nice splats. A double splat with the Charger is very strong and definitely helped his team push that zone. And now Zekun is pushing up on the opposing court, trying to get as much turf as he can for that baller. He does get splatted, unfortunately for him. Yeah, almost the baller already too. It would have been a nice actual little push with that baller, but Sayonara, something can happen. And Sayonara using all their specials, but can they hold that zone against a double 3? They can get it back.
Can they get not sniped, right?
Not in time. They do lose the lead. So even since 1 point, that's still not having a lead, and having to play a tiny bit harder to maintain it.
A little bit of a cheeky sniper battle going on right now. Neither sniper able to take out the others, but it seems like they're able to take out each other's teammates during it. I mean, that's really good presence of mind for a sniper fighting another sniper. And even though you have to make sure that you don't get taken out by the enemy, you're still able to kind of have the presence of mind to know when there are teammates nearby that you can help. Not even getting a full charge snipe on him, but just by tap shotting someone to get a pick. Right now we see Sayonara I'm pulling some teamwork situations right now. Bagel with the double kill with the help of Sun right there, and they're able to kind of completely wipe the map. Alexei is, alive. Zekin's also alive, but Sayonara has full map control right now. Depending on how things go, this could start to be a kind of a snowball situation.
Astral has been kind of in trouble in dealing with that Naturalist. Naturalist is really putting down those double L3 back in their position, like as L3 puts down a 10 attack back in that position. That, well, if you're gonna use the double L3, I'm gonna be Naturalist is basically be weapon twice in one weapon, but Astral knows how to deal with it and does take down a lot of the people from Sayonara, and we see great teamwork from Obito and Alexei here, just getting the last picks and painting the zone again and trying to get map back as much as they can whilst their team is responding. But as their team is responding, so is the team of Sayonara, and Sayonara is pushing back really hard instantly, not giving them any time to hold that zone.
Yeah, you pop in that baller immediately, just choosing to value the baller's ability to just keep the pressure going as opposed to, use it to take the zone later, and it's working out. While the lead might actually change here if Bagel doesn't start painting that zone, which does, look how much Sayonara was able to take what should have been a situation where they lost the zone into a situation where they kept getting picks, they kept just not slowing down, and they're able to kind of get mapped. Unfortunately, they weren't able to take the zone afterwards, and as the dust settles, Astral is able to get some more picks, so it looks like it's kind of backfiring a little bit, but I mean, you saw the execution, you saw their ability to kind of push forward there, but it came down to that little situation. Now the game might end in Astral's favor.
Yeah, it's a big close battle, and we have to see what's going on. Astral's been trying too hard to hit zone, and they kept it. Astral taking the first game, but I think what happened there was Astral just took advantage of, okay, we as double L3 maybe cannot single-handedly beat that Naturalist, but the double L3 can do is take down the cancel shot and that Special Medic Neo, and especially for Sayonara when they didn't have armor and where Astral had armor, they took advantage of the armor very hard, just making sure that whenever the opposing team was pushing, they had their armor ready to counter that push, taking down 2 of the painting weapons, and then you suddenly have a whole team that is ready to take down a single Nautilus. It's just in Astral's situation, probably the only way they had to deal with that Nautilus, and I think they handled it very well.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. The whole junior +2 L3s is just good in the first place, man. I mean, armor and baller combinations have been really powerful for a while. I know you can kind of think back to the summer when we saw a lot of Japanese teams. They were doing like the junior and the ink brush nouveau and some kind of armor weapon and a backline. That was really popular for a while, and it's because like you have these baller weapons and they kind of have this like layer of protection on them with the baller, but then they can also get another one as the armor afterwards. So it's like, I'm a baller weapon, I pop, my teammate pops armor, and I can kind of keep being aggressive when like my special's over. This should be a situation where like, I kind of ran out of gas. And you saw a lot of that, like you have this junior ready to stop a push like you're talking about with 2 ballers backing it up. It's just layers and layers of pseudo invincibility that really do a good job. For that last game personally, like we saw that situation kind of like the bottom left of well, I guess it would be the bottom right of Astral's side of the map, where there was that kind of teamwork situation where Bagel got like a double kill and there was a lot of back and forth. I think that in the kind of follow-up fight after that, where Origami, or otherwise known as Jared, didn't get a pick after a fight happened. Like I think it was like stuck in zone, and you saw the Neo Splash not quite having the range to fight the people that he was fighting. I saw him kind of jumping up and down without moving forward, and I think that decision to try to abuse the Neo Splash's 0 RNG to win a fight kind of cost him, because he got his feet painted, he couldn't move forward. I think that if he had gotten that trade in that situation, the follow-up situation that kind of determined the game, where Bagel decided to just kind of go full force and use his baller after the wipe. I think that chain of just not quite getting the kills is what did it for Sayonara, and you kind of saw like they were dropping kills, not quite getting the picks they needed, and it just built up to like an insurmountable disadvantage. I know that was a really long sentence, but I think that like the narrative of why that game went the way it did was pretty clear. I think that both these teams are pretty even in like strategy and skill. It was just that there was little bits of being outplayed in the favor of Astral over the course of the last like minute of that game that just kind of built up to Sayonara and never really have enough people on board.
Yeah, I think so too. We're going to game 2 now, which is Rainmaker on Mako mod. And we see both teams running the same comp, except for Sayonara opting to go for the normal special medic, which is something I see even less often. But Origami going ham, getting a nice triple spell early on, and this the power, or the downside of Rainmaker, getting a triple spell means almost a free push. But Astral, nothing had happened, the Charger just taking out the Rainmaker, just to reset on this very awkward position for Sayonara. Astral getting more and more picks over and over again. And this is right now where Astral has to push, popping the Rainmaker very quickly and trying to get back mid as fast as they can. Alexa with a Stingray splatting the Nautilus, which I think is a very good splat right now. Just getting the Nautilus away from mid is what you want. Benny going down to Q, and this is going to be again a very back and forth match. And beginning a Rainmaker, even if they grabbed it, which is probably going to lose it very soon. I don't really know what's going to happen here, and both of the teams are really equally matched.
Yeah, I do want to point out Jared kind of showing why the Neo Splash with Ink Resist is such a, even sometimes without Ink Resist, is such a good matchup versus the L3, because when you have a weapon like L3 where you have these 3-1 bursts that kind of root you and you need to land your shots, a really mobile shooter like Neo Splash that can jump back and forth with the 0 RNG, sort of like an NZAP can run back and forth, it creates these situations where it's really hard for the L3 to land their shots, and you saw how he was able to kind of just kind of push forward versus a bunch of L3s without really much care. If he's able to take advantage of those movement options that he gets by choosing that weapon over the course of the set, I think that we'll see a lot more of these kind of situations where Jared's just able to get multi-kills that he has no business getting.
But Astral with this L3 is still putting a very strong fight, and well, maybe if he can't come against fighting them, they will just having 2 people on that Neo Splash to just take him down very quickly. We also just saw Alexei picking up the Rainmaker and pushing it down 3 extra points, not just to get more points, but just to reset it and wasting a lot more time for Sayonara.
Look how long it took for the Rainmaker
Astral wasted a solid 1.5 minutes there for Sayonara, which is in this map, if you have to lead, it's really something you want to do, because this is a very long Rainmaker map, and there's a lot of spots for Charger to pick off that Rainmaker, and Sayonara really has to focus on the charge. Sayonara does get to the lead though by a tiny bit, but ends up getting wiped. But that's probably not even mattering that much because Rainmaker still have to get it back all the way through mid, all the way to the opposing base to get the lead again, and this is just something Sayonara has to take advantage of.
Yeah. Sun also escapes with those missiles right now, so whatever follow-up Astral has is going to be met with at least one special. As we see right there, the missiles going off at the same time as some really aggressive, just very Sayonara-like picks are going to completely push Astral back. So what could have been an advantage, like you said, after that wipe, you kind of alluded to it, like, well, maybe not the best wipe, just looking at the rest of the board, and no, Sayonara is able to just get a bunch of picks, completely stop any momentum. The Rainmaker actually ends up resetting on Astral's side of the map, of all things. And now Sayonara, they don't quite have, well, now they have mid. I was going to say, they don't quite have the ability to push with that Stingray up, but they have mid, and if things go well, they should be able to get another push going afterwards if these specials out of Astral don't really make anything happen.
Yeah, even if they have the ability to push, they don't really have to right now. All they have to do is just make sure they keep people from Astral picked off, and they've been doing it's exactly what they've been doing. They've been slowly just picking off one person from Astral at a time, just to make sure that they cannot push forward. And you need, Goblins need your full team to push forward in this map, especially on Rainmaker. And we'll see the interesting push.
Just having fun.
As Sayonara is still opting to push Rainmaker a little bit forward just to waste more time for Astral. But Astral getting his quick slide before the Rainmaker can get on the super awkward position. Astral getting also getting a couple picks on Sayonara. And now it's their turn, hopefully, to get back on the Rainmaker. But instead they decided that the Rainmaker reset to probably take the map back.
Let's see, and that Toxic Mist is actually going to come in a lot of use right there. Not only does the Toxic Mist still push Ballers back as if it was an explosive bomb, but since he did it while the L3 was popping Baller, the L3 basically spawned into a Toxic Mist, which allowed his teammates to come up and follow up on that kill. So really nice play by Jared. You see how this level of play comes down to these situations where it's just little bits of micromanagement that really determine if one person wins a one-on-one over another. Whether it comes down to little bits of planning in the moment, like we kind of saw earlier and we saw here, or it comes down to little bits of movement and just having the ability to predict what your opponent's going to do with their aimer. But right now that
Astral gets the lead back, and they got the lead by 3 points in the last 10 seconds, and now I think Sayonara is in kind of a little trouble right now, and they lead back, but knowing this map and how defense-sided it is, it's gonna be a little trouble. They're forced to pick up the Rainmaker without having any map, beforehand, and Astral getting a second going in the Rainmaker. Can he pick him off? And he can! Game 3 going to Astral. Oh, my bad. Game 2 going to Astral.
It feels like Game 3, right? These games are so aggressive. Man, I really like Astral's team comp, man. This whole combining the Ballers with the L3, with the Junior in a way that it just feels so purposeful. Everything that Astral does with this comp feels so purposeful. It feels almost like a Splat 1 comp where you're taking these weapons that do these drastically different things than the rest of the weapons in the game, and you're putting together in a way that forms a strategy, and you're able to do so in ways with weapons that you're able to perform with them to the point where even though you're kind of going for these obtuse angles with the strategies you're picking, your ability to just run around and just behave like you're playing a shooter and do things that you need to do at the times that you need to do them isn't affected by you playing weird weapons, because if you look at it from face value, L3, it kind of, it doesn't really have the mobility because it has to do these 3-round bursts where it kind of roots itself to the ground. And you have the Junior that doesn't really have the range, and it doesn't really have the ability to fight quote unquote fair with another weapon. But when you watch Astral play, it doesn't seem like any of those things are holding them back at all. They're just really good at the weapons they're choosing. Even when we see Obi go H3 instead of a Junior, the dynamic changes a little bit, but it's still basically the same thing. I think that the comp is just it's just beautiful.
Yeah, L3 Astral definitely stepping on the gas. That's playing up more aggressive against this comp, and it's been showing off that their extra aggression is really paying off for them. But it can all suddenly change on Snapper Canal Rainmaker, which is I think one of the Rainmaker maps, because this is one of the few maps where you don't go for the first pop, you go for the first team wipe.
Yeah, because Astral, as long as you don't die to the... Oh, my bad.
Astral with their splatting power can definitely happen. Sayonara opting to go for the quick pop anyway. It doesn't really do much for them. If anything, it removes the shields. It doesn't beat anything, it removes the shields, and 3 people going down on the side of Sayonara can second get the last one. Yes, this ODB came there to help him, and now Astral has a free highway for a ton of points, instantly going to 36, which is, well, not really a dead zone. The dead zone is this tiny little ramp to go to the spawn of the enemy, but now the Rainmaker is in a very awkward spot.
Hello, Alex.
The Rainmaker is in a very awkward spot for Sayonara, and we see Astral being able to just keep on pushing with those missiles. Finally put that to a stop for Sayonara, giving him a tiny bit of breathing room in order to get back, play a bit more aggressive and get the map back with what they need. But Astral is still lurking everywhere, so you still can go anywhere for either team. And Astral definitely right now having a little bit of an advantage over Sayonara.
Yeah, it almost feels like last game should have been Sayonara's game. You know, first game goes to Astral, second game goes to Sayonara, third game goes to Astral, kind of like momentum. The fact that Astral was able to have that last second comeback really changed things, and I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up determining, you know, basically this set. So we'll see. It might come down to how popular this goes, but yeah, like you're saying, the way Astral's playing right now, they're taking a ton of the map. They're putting all this pressure on, and it just feels like Sayonara can't do anything. Bagel get taken out right there. Obi finally getting taken out by missiles, but look at all these blue squids just jumping in and keeping the pressure going. There was some picks that happened there, but it feels like nothing was gained from Sayonara. Alex picks up the Rainmaker. He pushes forward. Zekken ballering in the enemy base. This is just not stopping.
Zekken also getting a nice pick there on the Nautilus, which is a pretty huge pick, pushing a Rainmaker even further to 7 points, as Benny is still inside of the enemy base. Can he be fighting as charged as he can? Now he just has to stay there long enough, using the bullet to grab the Rainmaker, push that Inkjet back. Can he get the Inkjet? No, I think he can. Can he? Is still... Oh, the Inkjet is down! Benny's still left, but this does end up getting picked off. Oh, taking a second, bring the Rainmaker just to reset it, buying more points. Last second Rainmaker pick. Astral is just wasting time.
Oh, never mind. They don't have to play it anymore.
Sayonara.
Yeah, okay, so this is finally the first time there's been a wipe. The pressure is finally alleviated. What is Sayonara going to do? We see Benny over here just kind of watching Jared over to the right side of our screen. We'll see how that goes. Jared gets taken out by the Sharker. So while Jared was trying to paint, you know, maybe flank a little bit, he was taken out. So now this push is kind of getting stopped before it's even started. Q's able to pick up a pick for herself, but, you know, what is the result of this? Basically, everyone from Sayonara going down. People jumping back in, but I don't really know how much they're going to be able to stay alive. Yeah, Q's forced to basically back all the way up. I'm not sure where Bagel is, but he doesn't seem to be in any kind of position to get map control. Over half the game is over already. Sayonara really has to do something different to start actually dominating the map and turning this into a situation where they can actually win, because they've, like you were pointing out earlier, they've just been having so much pressure that it seems like they can't do anything.
Yeah, I think switching from that Neo Splash to the normal Splash definitely gives them a little bit more splashing power with the Inkjet over the Bombers. But what they are giving up is so much turf that the Neo Splash can bring with the Bombers and Burst Bomb combination. And that's what Astral just uses advantage of now. Okay, we maybe not have to keep splashing power, but what we do have is just so much more turf. And if we can just keep the map our side, then we'll eventually get those splats, which they're definitely doing. And now it's up to Sayonara to get the Rainmaker push, but unfortunately the Rainmaker is not pushed far enough to 49. The death zone, of course, in this map. I think the ramps towards the opposing spawn are really the death zones for both maps, and it's super hard to push through those, and we've already seen Astral already broke that boundary and putting it to 15, and now all they have to do is just hold the Rainmaker in front of those ramps to not get them anywhere, probably even reset the to make, but the Rainmaker just cannot go after those ramps, because the second it touches that ramp and goes over it, Astral has lost, and they know that right now.
So we see Sun moving up, getting a pick, and backing up. I mean, Sayonara is still playing like Sayonara. They're still going for all these bait and switches. They're still being aggressive. But I like what you pointed out about how, like, the Neo Splash is kind of... The Neo Splash missing is kind of... gosh, like, the Inkjet isn't doing much. The Neo Splash can pop Rainmaker. It can take so much turf on this map. And that element of the team comp coming out of Sayonara missing, it really is just a huge blunder for them. I think that a lot of these situations would have gone different. Like every single time the Inkjet got popped, he got taken out. There's been an inability to like push up. The bomb rush takes care of the ballers and stuff. Like, yeah, I really think that the Neo Splash could have helped there. But the way that Astral has been able to put this game together, I don't really know how much it could have helped.
No, maybe not. Maybe the extra turf would have helped. Maybe the bomb push over that little dead zone because the Inkjet is just with the little weird height elevations. It's kind of hard for Inkjet to push into the enemy base. So maybe the bombers would have definitely helped a lot, but considering as how well Astral's been playing and how well Zekken and Benny has been combining the double L3 with perfect armors from Obito, I don't think that Sayonara could have done much either way. So we'll have to see how they're gonna take it down in game 4. Both of the counter picks from Sayonara have been taken by Astral, so this game,
it's pretty tough,
I think it's really in Astral's favor. Astral has been just it's super close, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Astral has been having that upper hand almost every single time by just that tiny little bit, but just enough to win.
So off stream right now, I believe it's the first 4-0 of the day has happened off stream. Demise 4-0's Polaris. Also XLSS, XLSS. 3-1s in control. Kraken Paradise is up 2-0 over Pufferfish, and it looks like one of the results is waiting to be confirmed. So I don't know if that's a 3-0 or a 2-1, but Pufferfish isn't doing much better than Sayonara right now, it seems, if they are doing better. So I believe we may still end up seeing Sayonara and Astral in grand finals. The way this has gone so far, it's actually been kind of even. I think that second game was really in Sayonara's hands. I think that game 1 was really close as well. I think that this last game, it did have a little bit to do with comps. I think that, nothing to take away from Astral, I think this is the first actual definitive game that we've seen. And we do see the Neo Splash coming out of Jared right now. So I don't think that Demise is ahead of Saya right now. Oh, interesting. Demise might actually end up going going forward. I'm not really sure what's going to happen, how the tiebreaker is going to work, but yeah, I mean, if Sayonara has a chance to go to grand finals, it has to be here. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, we already see that Astral's taking a little bit of one-man advantage over Sayonara, which is this map getting a zone. Somebody big of a big zone, and the double baller is going to help paint a lot. But you're getting that one-man advantage, just getting an initial push and getting initial points is pretty big. But Astral quickly getting pushed back into the spawn by Sayonara getting a lot of quick splats, and Sayonara having the zone right now. This is kind of troublesome for Astral because, you know, pushing back on this map, you only have 2 ways, and both of the ways are kind of forcing you to drop down. So this is going to be very interesting for Astral to figure out. They have to push it with the specials. Origami is flanking here, but doesn't manage to get a pick early on. We see Bagel helping on the street of Astral to kind of get some picks. Origami using their bombers in order to paint the zone, or just paint anything he can, really. That's all they have to do. He gets taken out by Zekken. Zekken using a baller, trying to put everything away from the zone and just hold, or everything away from the street and holding the zone to score more points and get them back into the lead.
Yeah, I mean, that situation got really slippery. You know, Astral just had team members that just weren't getting taken out when they should have. They weren't dying. And when all the smoke cleared, you know, the inability to get those picks is what swung the situation around. So it's looking a little bit like game 1. We'll see how Sayonara is able to do a map retake here, but it seems like they're really not able to. Bagel going down, the zone still being held. Finally, the Junior goes down, but these 2 L3s that are very capable of slaying are still alive. We see Zekken here putting on the pressure, helps get his teammates get a pick. I don't know what Bagel can do by himself here. Baller gets popped. Does it get a pick when it blows up? I don't think so, but look at the time what's on the zone.
And that's it. Quick KO from Astral, and it's the second 4-0 of today. I believe, yeah. Astral showing that, well, the double L3 comp, they know they're the best at this. They show, okay, you may have a naturalist, which is kind of both of weapons in one. What we can do with this L3 is just perfect. It's like a symphony they've been doing, going so well together. You know, like in a symphony, everything just works so perfectly together. That has been Astral definitely been showing today. That their weapon choice, because all they switched was the backliner. They kept everything the same for the entire set, and definitely showed that they know how to be in perfect synchronization with that.